something came out of the sky and hit the ground.
In front of several eyewitnesses, a burning object crashes to Earth.
It was round, flames coming off the front.
And over 2,000 miles away, another strange impact.
He said, nobody goes down in there with us.
Technology reveals clues at one site.
It's not natural. That is definitely not natural.
While reports of men in black surround the other.
They work for an agency I had never heard of before.
Who or what is crashing outside of these communities?
Would you say this thing was under intelligent control then?
It had to be.
And what does our own government know about them?
I don't see how the military could possibly cover that up.
This is case number 65303, Alien Crashes.
Whatever it was, they wanted it back.
I looked up and I saw an object passing to the south that lit up the area.
May 14, 2008, Needles, California. In the early morning darkness, at approximately 3 a.m., a local fisherman claims to see something he will never forget. A turquoise ball of fire suddenly lights up the Colorado River. Seconds later, it crashes into the desert. Some initially think it's just a meteor, but can't explain the strange color. And the incident isn't over yet. Within moments, 5 unmarked helicopters enter the area. But these aren't just any helicopters. They're double-rotor military models, and one has a large sky crane. Soon after, witnesses see the armada leaving, and it's carrying something. The object, according to witnesses, is around 30 feet long and bulky, like a tanker truck. But there's something else. It's still burning with a bright turquoise glow.
There seems to be a common witness testimony involving military presence, the military coming in and apparently removing or cleansing the area.
The military moves in hard, moves in fast. Helicopters come in and yank out whatever crashed.
Needles is still under investigation. We don't know exactly where the crash site is, but we do know that a crash occurred, and we'll be trying to find out where that site is and see what happened.
The search in Needles starts with several breaking leads. Some claim that hidden somewhere in the dense desert brush is proof of whatever crashed here. Dr. Ted Ackworth will attempt to pinpoint where the object came down.
You've got vehicles crash landing into Earth. You should be able to find physical evidence, hard physical scientific evidence.
Pat Uskert will head down the river in search of the crash site.
As a UFO investigator, this is a chance for me to dig into the ground and maybe turn up some answers.
And Bill Burns will meet with eyewitnesses who saw the entire event unfold.
We're going to find out why the military comes in and denies anything ever happened.
The investigation begins at Needles' KTOX radio, where Bill and Pat meet station owner David Hayes.
Here we find ourselves trying to figure out what happened on
May 14th, yeah.
In studio with Bill Burns, Pat Uskert. If you have any information on the incident of May 14th on that morning.
According to Hayes, the morning following the alleged UFO crash, listeners begin calling in reports. And the calls are still coming in.
Let's try a phone call, guys. Caller, you're live on 1340.
It was coming down fast, but at an angle.
Did you notice a shape to the object?
Yeah, it almost looked like a huge meteorite from where I was. That's why I had expected to hear an explosion when it hit.
Yeah.
While some describe the object as a meteorite, hardly any believe that's the case after what happened next.
I think something came out of the sky and it was retrieved, and I don't have any idea what it was. They were here to recover it so quickly.
And how quickly was that, by the way?
I was told within the first 20 minutes.
Wow.
Do you think they were tracking it if it's that quick?
I think you would have to be. I don't think you could get here that quickly unless you were staged, ready to go, knowing it was coming down.
But few claim to have seen the actual crash, or are afraid to admit it because of the military's response.
I noticed some vehicles coming off the freeway, and one of them was incredibly strange. On the back with antennas and domes, the front license plate was U.S. government, and with blacked out windows, with a guy who was staring at me.
Hayes says he later saw the same vehicles outside the radio station, watching.
Was actually parked about 100 yards from the station. And I'm not quite sure, but the kind of equipment and the kind of vehicles they were in obviously were very high-tech, electronic, possible surveillance.
But surveillance vehicles are not the only mysterious presence. The afternoon following the crash, people see strange unmarked planes arriving at a local airport. They're plain white with a red stripe down the side, and to some, they are very familiar.
The other intriguing part of this story is the Janet flights. We had a report that there was these flights coming in and out of the international airport that morning.
Janet is not the name of an official airline. It is a call sign assigned to these unmarked white jets with the red stripe, allegedly seen since the 1970s. This is one of these flights, seen at the far end of Las Vegas's McCarran International Airport. Janet flights are believed to carry defense workers to several notoriously isolated locations, including Area 51. But why are they being seen in Needles the day following the reported UFO crash? Bill heads to Laughlin Bullhead Airport and meets the manager, David Gaines, to see if he can find the answer.
Government planes do come in here from time to time.
That is correct, yes. Primarily they're military aircraft.
Have you ever seen aircraft from an airline known as Janet Airlines?
No.
Have you ever seen aircraft coming in, covert aircraft, white, maybe with red bands on them, maybe blacked out windows for passengers?
No.
You never heard of this operation, you don't know anything about it?
I could give no credence to it ever happening because, to our knowledge, it didn't happen here.
If you'd seen that, and you had been ordered not to divulge that they use this airport, what would you tell me?
I would tell you that no aircraft have ever been here of that nature. We've never seen any.
The witnesses said that on May 14th, a Janet plane did land there under the cover of darkness. David Gaines said, never happened.
With witnesses at odds over what happened that day, the best way to find proof may lie in the vast desert. Pat is prepping an expedition down the Colorado River. His goal? To find the actual crash site.
We're bringing in archaeologist Garth Baldwin. He'll be able to differentiate between just regular ground erosion and the impact of this object.
But finding it won't be easy.
The vegetation in this area is pretty dense. There's some trails we're going to use to get to the clearings that are out there and maybe find some of the indications of a burn or an impact. If things are disrupted, it should be pretty apparent.
While searching the thick brush will prove formidable, a new development could aid the search. A witness who heard the radio program has come forward, and he has a general idea of where the object crashed. His name is Frank Costigan.
About a little after 3 in the morning, I came out to hunt for my cat. All of a sudden the ground here lit up. Not like bright sun or bright moon, but enough to make me look up.
Frank has an incredible background with controlled flights. Though he now lives in Needles, He used to be chief of police at Los Angeles International Airport.
Could you tell me the shape of it?
It was round, flames coming off the front. It was blue and turquoise. So I'd say 5 to 6 times longer than it was wide. I thought I'd hear a sonic boom when it slowed down to the speed of sound.
Did you hear a crash?
Didn't hear a thing.
Costigan claims he doesn't hear anything because the descending UFO disappears over the horizon to the south. It crosses right over the Colorado River bend, north of Topic. But from what he is able to see, Costigan believes this couldn't be anything ordinary.
You worked at LAX, correct?
Yes, I was chief of police, and I was also superintendent of airport operations.
Was this object anything like you'd ever seen before in your experiences?
Nothing commercial, nothing private, and nothing I'd seen in the military. It had to be something that was a controlled flight of some sort that maybe went haywire. That's my opinion.
Yet if this craft was at one time under control, who was guiding it, and where did it come from? The desert outside of Needles is ringed by military bases and test facilities. To the northwest sits the China Lake Naval Range. To the west are both the Army's Fort Irwin and the Marine Base at 29 Palms. To the south is Yuma Proving Ground, where the Army test fires long-range experimental artillery. And of course, most intriguing of all, to the north of Needles is Area 51.
In other words, we're standing right here in the middle of a military test area hotspot where test aircraft, some things that are like beyond what we even dream of, are being flown.
Two theories are possible. One, that it was an alien vehicle. Two, that it was one of ours. The answer may lie with a witness who claims he heard the impact.
I looked up, and that's when it came in.
It kind of went through a cloud and came out, and there was another one directly behind us.
On a quiet morning in May of 2008, something crashes in the desert outside of Needles, California. Multiple witnesses watch as a turquoise blue object is carried away by military helicopters. But there's more to the story, and it may be the key to understanding what's going on. All of this has happened before. In July 1947, another desert crash brings the small town of Roswell, New Mexico to worldwide attention. The military's announcement that they have recovered a flying disc shocks the world. Allegedly, the nearby Army airfield sends personnel to clean up the crash site and instructs workers to leave no evidence behind. Days later, the military changes its story, attributing the crash to a weather balloon. Now in Needles, the team has located a key eyewitness who agrees to speak with the investigation on one condition: that his real name not be used. The witness, known only as Bob, arranges a meeting on the Colorado River, near where he saw the object on May 14th.
As I was sitting on the boat fishing at 3 o'clock in the morning, and the whole front of the boat lit up. I looked up and I saw a bright turquoise, blue, something falling out of the sky. It came straight across from one side to the other, and it hit. It just kind of made a thump.